Before we get into this ranking of the best perks in 7 Days to Die, I just want to clarify that we're not including weapon damage perks because obviously pretty much every weapon perk is going to be the top priority of every playthrough, and if I was including them, the list would be almost entirely just a list of 7 weapon perks, which feels pretty uninteresting. So we're going to be ranking the top 7 best perks in 7 Days to Die aside from weapon damage perks, and we're actually going to start with an honourable mention that would be very high on the list, if not for one small thing. Our honourable mention is an interesting one: charismatic nature. The effects of this intellect perk are: allies and party members heal 50% faster, do 20% more damage and block damage, take 10% less damage, take half damage from bleed and stop bleeding twice as fast, find 20% better loot, and gain +1 to all their attributes. That is an extremely good effect to be able to potentially give a large amount of players. However, it only gets an honourable mention as despite being one of the best multiplayer perks, it is completely useless in single player. It does nothing whatsoever and is a complete waste of 5 perk points. So for being worthless in arguably the most popular game mode in 7 Days to Die, I can only give it an honourable mention. On to the main list with number 7. Number 7 is Run and Gun. Run and Gun is an underrated agility perk. At level 5, it will give you 25% better hipfire accuracy, which is pretty good on its own, as you can very easily configure weapons to be pretty much pinpoint accurate with hip firing in this game, so it's actually worth ever doing. The main benefit though is the removal of the run speed modifier when reloading. It's such a minor thing in theory, but it really does translate to much more fluid gameplay in practice, really allowing you, as the name suggests, to run and gun. You can sprint around while reloading and it won't slow you down to a crawl. It's one of those things that you just have to feel to really get, but it has saved my life countless times, and it makes fighting hordes without a base much more easy, which is a fun way to handle them if you don't like base building. The reason I could only give this number 7 though is because of the 2.0 perk padding debacle, where they made most of the perks cost 5 skill points to fully level up, whereas several of these perks were much cheaper. For example, Run and Gun used to just be 3 ranks, which was much more worthwhile because it had essentially the exact same effect for less skill points. It's still very good though. Salvage operations. Salvage ops gives you 100% more resources when salvaging with salvaging tools, and it gives you 50% more damage with them. And it reduces your stamina usage by 25% for light attacks and 50% for heavy attacks with salvaging tools. This is on my list because it is one of the better perks for making money in 7 Days to Die, and you can sell a lot of the stuff you gather from salvaging for a lot of money. And since selling also happens to be an excellent way to level quickly, salvage ops will help you level faster from all that salvaging as well. It's also worth noting that salvage operations will allow you to mine decently efficiently with just your salvaging tool, and motherload does apply in this context, so you don't lose out on any material if you have that perk. Mining tools are obviously a little bit better and more efficient for it, but honestly it's not bad in a pinch as an alternative to Miner 69er. This perk is a must-have in most of my playthroughs. Miner 69er. Miner 69er is a strength perk which gives you 150% more block damage with mining tools like the axe, shovels, and picks, and it gives you the stamina reduction I mentioned from salvage ops already. I went back and forth on which is better between Miner 69er and salvage operations. While salvage operations essentially operates as both Miner 69er and motherload, but for salvaging, mining has this effect split between 3 perks in Miner 69er, motherload, and junk miner. So salvage operations is definitely the more skill point efficient option. Ultimately, I think Miner 69er is more useful though if you build bases or craft ammo and explosives at least. Miner 69er is the obvious choice as it makes collecting raw resources used for that much easier. It also makes mining a much more tolerable mechanic, so I often prioritize it. The downside is that you will need 2 other perks to fully maximize this playstyle. My decision between the 2 though did ultimately come down to the versatility of the trees they live in. In my opinion, strength is better than perception, so Miner 69er just gets the edge here barely. Fortitude Mastery. Fortitude Mastery will give you the ability to stop bleeds by killing enemies, and after recovering from infections, you become immune for 2 hours. Fist weapons also gain a 10% chance to give you gold or silver on kills, and the real benefit, 100 more max health. I'm not gonna lie, most of this perk is absolute cheeks, minor quality of life improvements at best. But I can't argue with 100 more max health. If you average it out to basically 20 more health per skill point invested, that's a pretty good perk. The one issue it really has is being in Fortitude, which just isn't that fantastic of a playstyle for anyone who likes progressing quickly or having resources easily. But you do get really good combat skills at least, though as always when it comes to attributes that do almost nothing outside of combat, agility is the better one because half its perks aren't useless passive effects that never do anything useful. Aside from living in easily my least favourite tree, Fortitude Mastery is a very good perk for 100 levels worth of extra health. Strength Mastery. This gives you 100% faster healing of critical injuries while holding mining tools, a 5% chance to get brass when mining tools do 50% more damage to zombies, sledgehammers and clubs have an additional 50% dismemberment chance on headshots, and you get 25% damage resistance upon kills with any strength weapon, including shotguns. This perk is busted. It's stupid. Just what even were they thinking? Clubs and sledgehammers are already arguably the best melee weapons in the game, and giving them an even higher dismemberment chance and 25% damage resistance on kills is absolutely unreal. This perk genuinely fucking perplexes me. Let's look at how busted this is in like a perspective here. The crit healing effect serves as a much more skill point efficient version of healing factor with none of the food drain issues that perk has. The 5% chance to get brass when mining destroys the only weakness strength builds have historically had, which is having a harder time getting brass. Now your miner can get all the resources underground and never really bother with perception. And then it gives you a decapitation bonus on par with an additional 10 levels of strength. This single perk allows strength builds to basically be worth twice what any other attributes are, and allows you to be fully bullet crafting self-sufficient with one attribute, and it completely rips off 2 fortitude perks in pain tolerance and healing factor in a fraction of the perk costs, while being in a better tree. Why is strength like this? Does it have something to do with one of the main devs of this game being obsessed with weightlifting? Yeah, it's probably that now that I think about it. This is what happens when you give a gym bro a game engine. Anyway, on to number 2. Parkour. It lets you jump 3 blocks high, which is unbelievably good. It also removes the ability to ever break or sprain your legs from falls, which is extremely good if you're anything like me. And as of 2.0, it just completely turns off fall damage. This paired with a run-and gun from earlier means that zombies will never be able to hit you, which is arguably better than any health or damage resistance boosts you could get otherwise. It's also just really fun and really useful for building as well. This feels somewhat underwhelming compared to all the fanfare I gave Strength Mastery, but I do stand by its placement above it. Strength Mastery makes an already very powerful skill tree more ridiculous in all the ways it was already kind of ridiculous. This actually opens up a new playstyle that, in my opinion, makes the game more enjoyable. For that, it will always be my GOAT, despite being number 2 on this list. Number 1. Intellect Mastery. 20% less vehicle damage and fuel use, a 25% chance to find books, schematics, or magazines in damn near every container in the game, a 50% chance to get 2 skill points when reading those skill magazines, which can be combined with the nerd outfit for a 100% chance, effectively halving the amount of skill magazines you need to find, making progression effectively take half as long, and it makes it so that the stun baton is always charged. This perk makes progression completely a joke. You prioritize this perk and you'll unlock the ability to craft literally everything in the game by like day 10. It's so effective it actually killed my first 2.0 playthrough in its tracks because I was just done by day 17. I had everything. I had level 6 guns, I had a gyrocopter, and this was only taking that perk on like day 12. The stun baton boost is also really useful if you're actually using the stun baton, allowing every hit to be a devastating stun attack which can apply to a group of enemies. You basically turn the zombies off with a well-built stun baton build. Again, 2 such an extent that the game just stops being any fun at all. Now, you could argue that a perk that makes the game unbearable to play would be rated badly, not at number 1. But I know why most people are watching these videos. They want things that are good, that are going to absolutely ruin their game. And I believe in your right to make that choice, but don't say I didn't warn you when your playthrough ends almost instantly when you take this perk. If you found this useful or entertaining, why not check out my top 7 worst perks in 7 Days to Die video popping up on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.